Hi and welcome to the Business Owner Town Hall, City of Palm Springs. A little housekeeping before we begin. Everyone is muted during the webinar. A recorded file will be sent to all attendees with a PDF copy of the slides. There will be a Q&A at the end of the presentation today, but please feel free to ask questions during the webinar by clicking on the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Once the presentation concludes, I will ask the questions presented in the Q&A box. I may not get to everyone's questions, but we will do our best. If we do not get to your questions, please call 760-848-4096. I will also put this number in the chat box. Thank you. Turning it over to you, Mike.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining today. We're going to go through a lot of information. We're going to try and give you guys the facts of what's currently available as far as funding and different things through either the federal government, the state government, or local governments. We're going to try to go through and be as comprehensive as we can with things that are changing and going through. But first, what I'd like to do is we have a couple speakers on the line that I'd like for them to get a chance to say a couple words. First is Assemblymember Chad Mays.
Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Great, fantastic. I decided to step outside here in a room that's a little echoey, so hopefully it's okay. Thank you so much, City of Palm Springs, for putting this together. As we know, these are crazy times. I'm not sure I've ever in my life at 42 ever experienced anything quite like this before. So I just want to say thank you to the City of Palm Springs. You guys have shown a tremendous amount of leadership in regards to this coronavirus, and you are to be applauded for it. I'll just be very brief. I've got a couple of things, and then I'm going to provide my phone number. So for those of you that are listening, it'd be good to be able to have a pen and paper in front of you, because I want to make sure that you've got a place that you can reach out to me or to my office. So as we all know, California, the governor's ordered individuals to stay at home except as needed to help operate or utilize essential services. So things like gas stations, pharmacies, all of those things. There's a grace period. In fact, some notes that there's a grace period for homeowners affected. The governor announced today that 4 of the 5 largest banks will offer mortgage relief plans for the next 90 days. We all know now that Congress recently passed a $2 trillion economic rescue plan that will offer assistance to tens of millions of American households affected by the coronavirus. Its components include stimulus payments to individuals, expanded unemployment coverage, student loan changes, different retirement account rules, and more. With their small business loans, I'm sure we're going to go into some of this stuff here more in detail. Also, employers here in the state of California can apply for unemployment insurance work sharing program if reduced production, services, or other conditions cause them to seek an alternative to layoffs. For more info, you want to contact the EDD Special Claims Office, and you might want to write this number down at 916-464-3343. If you've had to close your business to prevent or manage the effects of the COVID pandemic, Governor Newsom's executive order temporarily suspends the 60-day notice requirement for employers who give written notice to employees and meet other requirements. If your business is directly affected by COVID-19, you can request up to a 60-day extension to file your state payroll reports and deposit state payroll taxes without penalty or interest. Include the impact of COVID-19 in your written request for the extension. Your request must be received within 60 days from the original past due date of the payment or return. There are also a number of financial products out there to help small businesses, and if you're not sure where to start out to reach out to the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, who'll be able to find the right financing to help your specific situation, and can also help with technical assistance while applying for financing. So here's another phone number to write down: 877-345-4633. And then lastly, our office is open, although all of my staff are working from home, but we are in contact with each other regularly and in contact with constituents. I have my Capitol office, which is 916-319-2042. That's 916-319-2042. My district office in Rancho Mirage is 760-346-6342. Once again, that's 760-346-6342. And then I'm going to give you one final number. This is actually my personal cell phone number. So you want to write down, this is my personal cell phone, so you can text me or call me directly. It's 760-413-9048. Again, that's 760 413-9048. And then I'll pass it along to who's next.
Thank you, Assembly Member. And just so you all know, as he's giving that information there, if you go into the Zoom chat, you'll be able to get all those numbers. We do have somebody that is putting those numbers in the chat box, so you can get access to anything that you might have missed in that. And we're also taping this so that you will get a copy of this as well. So thank you so much, Assembly Member, for joining us. Next, we have Mayor Jeff Coors.
Great, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. And I want to thank everyone who's participating, and a big thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and the Small Business Development Center for their work and for hosting this. Obviously, this is an extremely challenging time for our local businesses, your employees, your customers, and all of us. You've put your heart and soul into your building your business. It's important that you're all able to survive through this crisis. So the City of Palm Springs is committed to working to provide as much information as possible to our business community. We are regularly updating our website at palmspringsca.gov with information on all of the various programs that are available for businesses and for employees. And I also want to share a few other things that are happening at the city level. The city, working with the Chamber and other organizations, has been collecting information on essential businesses that are remaining open, including restaurants that are open for takeout and/or delivery, businesses that now are selling online, as well as those selling gift cards. We're sharing this information through various means, including at visitpalmsprings.com. If you would like your business listed in any of those areas, please send the information to Randy Garner, and his email address is rgarner@visitpalmsprings.com. At our last council meeting, we passed an emergency 2-week moratorium on all evictions, residential and commercial, while we worked on an ordinance to address the impacts of the crisis. At the council meeting this coming Thursday, which you can submit public comment by email as well as call in, and the information is on our website, we'll be considering a longer-term ordinance relating to both residential and commercial evictions. The governor has put a moratorium on residential evictions, but not commercial as of this time. So we'll be looking at that as well. Lastly, as major events started being postponed even before the required shutdown of non-essential businesses, we started working on how we can best support businesses once this pandemic is over. As liaison to the Chamber and our tourism organizations, I want to share that we are working on how we can increase tourism, which so many of our businesses rely on once people are able to safely travel again. We're already working to build marketing campaigns that will be targeted to encourage visitors, especially those who live closer and may not want to travel as far, to come to our wonderful destination. I can be reached at geoff.coors, K-O-R-S, at palmspringsca.gov. And our Economic Development Director, Jay Virata, can be reached at j.virata, V-I-R-A-T-A, at palmspringsca.gov. And I believe it now goes to Nona Watson, CEO of the Palm Springs Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Next, we have CEO and President of the Palm Springs Chamber, Nona Watson.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Mayor. Yes, this is Nona Watson. And I'm just here quickly to let you know that the Chamber is here for you. We answer all of our emails, we're answering phone calls, we're doing what we can to make sure that you have the most current information to either keep your business going or to help you when your business reopens. So please use your Chamber of Commerce. It's nwatson@pschamber.org, and you can call the Chamber office here, 760-325-1577. We do answer the phone calls and we answer our emails. So any information, any questions you have, we're your partners in this, and we want to be here to help.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nona. Next, we have
welcome.
Joaquin Tiarina, the Director for the Coachella Valley Small Business Development Center.
Good afternoon, everyone. Joaquin Tiarina here. I really just want to strive to and let you know that the SBDC in the Coachella Valley is putting together this information. We've put it out to a lot of folks, but we want to make sure that the business community is getting timely and accurate information. There are many, many sources of information out there, but we want to make sure you have the latest and most up-to-date information. So Mike will provide a number of updates today. And also at the end of the presentation, we'll give you the local number to call to contact us. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Joaquin. So I want to get started by just showing you a number, because usually people always wait to the end. So this is the number to directly connect with us, and we're going to help you through everything that we're about to show you. And I'll bring this up multiple times during the presentation, but just in case you wanted to take it down real quick. So first, I'm going to talk just a little bit about myself and the SBDC. So for those of you that haven't heard of the Small Business Development Center, it is a nationally or a federally funded program. Our funding comes from Congress, and then we also get funding from the state of California and from a lot of local entities like the County of Riverside Economic Development Agency. So we do have a center located for all of Coachella Valley in both Indio and Palm Desert, and we have multiple locations, and Joaquin is the director for that center. What we do is one-on-one consulting. Most of us are business owners ourselves in very specific categories. And so as I talk today, everything that I talk to you about, we are going to be able to assist you one-on-one. I know I've already seen a lot of questions that are very specific to things. So we're able to help you in a lot of these things and understanding what you might qualify for, understanding what the next steps are for your business. So I always like to start with a picture of myself, just so that you know who's on the other side of the screen, because this is always a unique form in Zoom. But a little bit about myself. So I own a couple Rocky Mountain chocolate factories and a Sugar Daddy sweet shop. If you are going to look up Sugar Daddy Sweet Shop online, just make sure you type in the whole thing, because if you just type in Sugar Daddies, you're going to come up with something very different. So that's my background, and that's what I do daily. I also work at the SBDC helping business owners just like myself start, grow, exit, and then right now understand what's available and really try to survive through what we're going through. So little picture, so this is one of my stores. This was about 2 weeks ago. This is what it looked like. And then this is where I am now, right? Had to clean it out, closed it down. In the 3 locations, I had about 25 employees. I have let all my employees go. So I think, a lot of us are in the exact same situation, right? We don't know what to do. We don't know what's next. And for a lot of us, we don't know when we're going to get back to business. So we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of everything that's available to us. And at the same time, making sure you're going through everything that you need to go through. So as I talk through some of this, I'll try and answer some of the questions if they're relevant as I'm talking, but if not, we'll get a chance to come back to them. So first couple things that I want to make sure that you've done or that you are in the process of getting ready to do. If you have a lease, you need to talk to your landlord. Whether they're willing to forgive some of the loan, some of the lease, whether they're willing to defer some of the lease, you need to at least have that conversation. And so for some lease owners, or landlords, they are not willing to do anything. One of my landlords, it's pay the rent April 1st or get out, right? And so obviously it's not going to be that drastic because it can't be, but that's kind of the situation that a lot of people are in. But I suggest have that conversation, couple options that you have, right? To abate the rent and get, and they'll reduce some of the rent or all of it, or defer it. Is there a potential to defer it for 6 months or for 3 months or for even a month just to see where you're at? Have that conversation, put it in writing, send a letter to your landlord. I suggest you do that right as soon as possible. Second, if you have a current loan, you should go to your lender and ask them for a deferment. Almost every lender is giving an immediate 3-month deferment with no penalties. And, so go ask them. Most of them understand the exact situation and they will put this through and they will do that. But if you don't ask, they're not going to do it. Thirdly, your insurance. So make sure that, check your insurance, check and see if you have business income or business interruption insurance. What we want to find out is, can you make a claim and are they going to pay off on that claim? Now, just to give you some more insight. So I actually did this with my businesses. I had business income and business interruption insurance. Put in a claim. They said, well, a pandemic doesn't count. But a government shutdown is written in the policy. So at the moment, there are a lot of larger companies that have business interruption insurance that have begun a lawsuit. So my suggestion is make the claim. Whether or not you get it today, we don't know, but something might happen in the future. So if you go to your insurance policy or call your insurance broker and find out, do I have this? And tell them that you want to make a claim. Even if they don't want to take the claim, they don't have a choice. That is their job, is to take that claim and to fight for you on your side. And then lastly is your employees, right? So what are you doing for your employees? Are you trying to keep them? Are you still paying them? I have a sheet, and unfortunately the sheet changes all the time as different programs are coming out. But these currently are the 5 different pieces that you have for your employees and what they could take advantage of. Anywhere from disability insurance, if they happen to have gotten COVID-19 or, a medical quarantine, paid family leave, and that is changing as well. So paid family leave, we're going to get more information later this week as far as the federal government came out with a new paid family leave around COVID-19 that then will funnel into the EDD. So we have to wait till they make a determination of what it is before we understand. It could be up to 100% of the wages, but we don't know what that is yet. Unemployment insurance, which is a lot of what most of us are putting this into, and your employees, if you've let them go, what they're filing, paid sick leave, and then workers' compensation. So it talks about what it is, why you do it, the benefits that they would get, a little more information, and then how to file. And I will make sure that everyone gets this sent to you, because if you just click on the hyperlinks on the how to file, it will take you right to those forms. But I will tell you that the EDD is working, night and day, trying to catch up. No one's prepared for this, right? From a business owner like us to, the state government to the federal government, no one is prepared for the entire country to, all file unemployment at the same time or all close their business, right? So everyone's trying to catch up. But these are the forms, and like I said, I've had people that have called and been on the phone for 5 hours and haven't gotten a hold of somebody. We will help you through a lot of these pieces if you need help with it. Okay, so let me go to the next slide. So what's in the current stimulus bill? So I'm going to go through the 2 loan programs that have been pushed out already, and I'm going to talk about the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, which is also called the EIDL loan. Everybody likes to have an acronym for it, and then the Paycheck Protection Program, which is still being created by the SBA, but these are both federal SBA loan programs. I'm going to talk about what they are and what they might mean for you and your business. Okay, so different funding that's going to be available to you. So SBA disaster loan, traditional loans still exist, credit cards, crowdfunding. We have a lot of cities and counties that are trying to start up their own loan programs, whether it be at 0% or a very low interest rate, and then equity funding. So those are the different types of funding that's available to you that we can help work with you on. But I'm going to really go through the disaster loan programs today because those are the most pertinent, and those are really, when I talk about them, you'll understand why those are really the 2 that we're discussing. This is where it gets daunting. This is everything you're going to need to apply for any type of loan, right? So your credit history, your credit score, a little bit about your business, how you're going to use the funds. If you haven't filed your 2019 taxes, which I'm assuming a lot of people have filed an extension for either your corporate or you're going to file for your personal, your interim 2019 P&Ls, tax returns for the past 2 years, so 17 and 18, both on the corporate and personal side. And then all these are the list of SBA forms that we'll go through a few of them today just so that you have a better understanding. But for the 2 loans I'm going to talk about, you're going to need to fill out all these forms. Like I said, we can help you with all of these one-on-one as we go through it. So let me go through the Economic Injury Disaster Loan first. So it's also called the EIDL. This is what people are applying for right now. This is an SBA loan that goes directly through the SBA. It is a loan, and I'll kind of go through what those parameters are. But this is for businesses that have been affected by COVID. And I know that there have already been a couple questions asking, I've only been in business for a month, I'm just started, can I still apply? You absolutely can still apply. It is for how your business is affected from February 26th, when this was declared a disaster, to businesses are going to be impacted for the next 6 months, 9 months, year, maybe even longer. So as long as you can prove that your business has been interrupted and economically interrupted and injured, that's all you need to prove, to receive this loan. And there's also some other caveats to it, but you absolutely can if you are a startup and new to business. So as I go through this is kind of the parameters of it. So eligible entities may qualify for up to $2 million. Now I say up to $2 million, but they determine, meaning the SBA disaster team will determine how much you get based on many qualifiers. And I'll go through some of those qualifiers in a minute. The interest rates are 3.75% for small business and 2.75% for nonprofit organizations. So you happen to be a nonprofit, you can apply for this. And the term is up to 30 years. Most of the time it's going to be 25 to 30 years. It just allows a much smaller repayment size month to month. And there currently is a deferment for guaranteed 6 months, but they will defer up to a year, meaning once you get the loan, you don't need to start paying off on the loan until 6 months to a year. But interest does start accruing day 1, just so that you're aware. The loans can be used for working capital for fixed debts, like your insurance, your utilities, your payroll, your rent, your mortgage insurance, your mortgage interest, things like that have all been affected due to this disaster. Businesses that are eligible to apply. So like I said, businesses that have been directly affected by the disaster. All of us have been directly affected, whether it's just your sales are down because people have been, shelter in place or home in place, whether it's, you work and you have you sell B2B and they've gone out of business or they can't get product. If you've been affected by it, you can apply for this loan. Or if you're indirectly affected, right? So you're an independent contractor, third party doing marketing for a company, but they've gone out of business or their business is so slow that they've canceled the contract. You've been affected, okay? Collateral. So the current collateral requirements are up to $25,000, you don't need any collateral. Anything over $25,000, the SBA takes your real estate as collateral. SBA will not decline a loan for lack of collateral, but requires borrowers to pledge what is available. Now, that might change, and I've heard a lot of things of pushing that up to several $100,000 before they require collateral to no collateral needed. But that's just the current requirements, and so we want to talk about what's current and what is actually law and policy and procedure versus what might change in a day or two. Okay. Ineligible entities for this loan: agricultural enterprises, religious organizations, charitable organizations, gambling concerns, and casinos and racetracks. They're not eligible to apply for this loan. Okay, so how you apply, you go onto the site, and I will get you there in a second as well. I have a couple of different things, and it's changed. So this is actually outdated data on the first line, but you go directly to SBA or disasterloan.sba.gov, and it will take you right to it, and you're going to apply right into their system. It's an online system. It's super easy. You can fill out a paper loan application. My suggestion is to go into the online portal and do it that way, because one, it's much easier for them, and it's quick. They're going to get it right now versus you sending you filling out the documents, mailing it, and then you hope that they open it up and they do it, because they are going to have millions of people. Keep in mind, most disasters are single areas, a single state. Never have we seen a disaster that covers the entire country. So you have there's 30 million small businesses across the country. So there are going to be millions of businesses applying for this. So you want to make it as easy and as seamless on them, and you want to get a quick response. So the best way to do that is directly online. Okay. Basic filing requirements. So currently all you need is SBA Form 5 and SBA Form P019, which I will show you what that looks like in a second. But the only thing that comes, so SBA Form 5 is all of the facts that you're going to need, and that's exactly what you're going to fill in this online application. And then Form P019, the two biggest components of that are your gross sales from 2019 and your cost of goods from 2019. So let me say that one more time. Your gross sales from 2019 and your cost of goods from 2019. They're going to ask you that on two different lines, and those are the only two pieces that you need, to get your name into the system, to get up on the portal, and then the rest of these forms we can fill out as we go, right? But you want to fill this out as quickly as possible, because like I said, there's going to be millions of people applying. You want to get your name to the front so that they could get a chance to go through yours first. And then these other forms you're going to need, and I'm going to send you out a document that has the links to this, so that you just click on the link and it'll take you right to these forms. But it's a 4506, which allows them to run your credit. It's an SBA Form 2202, which is just all of your liabilities, right? Credit cards that you owe, any of your payables that you might owe to other vendors. And then the 413, which is a financial statement, which is pretty easy form to fill out. And we have a 10-minute video that we can show you or send to you, so it'll help you fill it out. Other information that they might ask, just schedules of your income tax return for principals and general partners. So anybody that has 20% or more ownership of the business has to fill this out, has to fill out a 4506 and a 413. And so I'll get to that in just a second. And then if you haven't filed, it's okay if you haven't filed your 2019 tax returns. That will not prevent you from getting this loan. What you will need, though, is a year-end profit and loss statement and a balance sheet. Okay, so you do not have to file, as there's been extensions to, for your corporate and your personal tax returns. You do not need a current 2019 tax return, but you will need an 18 and a 17. Okay, and then Form 1368 are going to go through your monthly sales figures. So if you've been in business for a long time, they're going to want to see the last 3 years or the last 36 months of monthly sales figures, and then they're going to ask for some of your expenses as well, so they can get an understanding of what it is monthly and yearly that you're having to pay for, and how this economic injury has hit you, so they understand how much to give you. Because like I said, they determine, they're not even going to ask on a form. There's not a form that you fill out that says, I want $100,000 or I want $300,000. You fill out these forms, they determine for you how much you're going to get. Okay, so submit your application as soon as possible. So just make sure that you check everything, right? You're going to need, if you're a corporation, you're going to need your corporate EIN number. If you have a insurance policy, you're going to need your insurance policy with your broker's name and your policy number. Those are really the basics that you're going to need to fill out. Now, there is one new piece to the new online system. At the very end of it, it's going to ask you to click a box if you want to receive a $10,000 upfront payment, and you always want to click that box. So click that box so that once they go through this, they're going to make sure that everything looks good and right, and then they're going to ask for the other forms, and they're going to give you $10,000 as quickly as possible to get money into your hands. So make sure that you click on that box at the end, and you'll see it. It won't let you proceed until you go forward. And I'm going to walk you through what it looks like on the form. Actually, why don't I do that real quickly? I'm just going to share my screen with you guys. Hopefully it's still up if I can find it. And I might have to come back to it. Yeah, I'm going to come back to it because I, for some reason, can't find it. So that's okay. I'll come back to it in a second. So what to do right now? Fill out Form 5. If you're a sole proprietor, you fill out Form 5C. And then the SBA Form P019. This will allow you to understand and be ready to fill in everything that you need, okay? So here's how you log in. That's the login code to get into the most current one. And they just updated the system as of yesterday at 3 o'clock. So it's just been updated. So it's a little different than it was last week, and it's a little different than it was Friday. And it might change again, but it's pretty easy and it's pretty straightforward to fill it out. Yeah, and I see somebody ask the question about the $10,000 piece. No, they're gonna come back to you for that. So anybody that's already filled it out prior, they're going to come back and ask, do you want this? So they're gonna add it to whatever you'd be given. So don't worry if you already filled out all the forms. And keep in mind, you're also first in line. So you're much higher up than a lot of other people that have gone through it. So that's everything to do with the EIDL loan. Does anybody, let me just kind of go through some of these questions that I'm seeing. And like I said, we'll send this all out to you and you can call us. We will help you through this one-on-one. And we do a webinar every day at 3 o'clock starting tomorrow, just to kind of walk people through it again, because I get it. This is the first time you're doing a lot of these things. You may have to go back and figure out what were your sales for 2019? What were your costs of goods? Just keep in mind, get this done, and I wouldn't, stress over, I have to get it in this minute, but, try to do it as fast as you possibly can to get it in so that you're closer into the system. Okay. So that's the EIDL loan. And so again, this is how you can contact us. You can go to Coachella Valley, and I see that there's a space. There shouldn't be a space there. Just CoachellaValleySBDC.org. You can call our 800 number. We will connect you with a live person within the hour. Okay. So that's how you get there. So now I'm going to talk briefly about the payroll protection program. And keep in mind, this bill came out on Friday. It got signed by the president on Friday. The SBA is currently working through what this program is actually going to be. So we're taking this based on what was written in the Senate bill for the CARES Act, but there might be nuance or changes to some of this. So keep in mind, what I'm telling you today might be slightly different than what actually transpires come Thursday or Friday. And that's when they said they were going to come out with all of this on Thursday or Friday. Now, first question, and I know a lot of you guys have asked the same question. Can I apply for the EIDL loan and the PPP loan? Yes, you can. What you can't do is they have to pay for two different types of expenses. So they can't be used for the same thing, but you can apply for both. And so let's go backwards real quick, just so I can get back to the EIDL loan. This is a 3.75 fixed rate for up to 30 years. It's up to $2 million, but the SBA will decide, SBA disaster team will decide how much you qualify for. So let's just give for example. Let's say that you get $50,000. If you were to get $50,000, first of all, it's deferred most likely for the first year. So you won't start paying it back for 12 months. And for every month for 30 years, you would owe roughly, let's just kind of roughly say about $225 a month for that $50,000. Okay, so that's that loan in a nutshell. And I know there's a lot of things that I just threw at you, so I will try to answer as many questions as I can, but that's the EIDL, or the current loan that sits there that is available today. And this is the only loan that's available today for anybody to apply for. So I would suggest apply for it. So if you apply for it and you decide in a month, once let's say tell you that you got it, you do not have to take it. You actually have a year to take it. So you can wait a year to decide, do I really want it? Do I need it? But I would suggest if you don't apply for it, then you're not going to get anything, right? So better to get into the queue, get into the system, and then you can decide from there. Just say, you know what, I'm not interested anymore. Or, or I don't want that much. Or, there's another piece to this that once you get, let's say you wanted $100,000 and you only got 50, you can come back to them and you could ask for more. You have to show how you're still being affected. But there is a potential to apply for additional funding through this once you receive the initial funding. So there are those options. Okay, so let me go to the payroll protection program. So this is currently coming out. This is from the SBA, but this goes to government guaranteed lenders. So people that currently offer SBA products that have FDIC, you're going to see Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Rabobank, Pacific Premier. You're going to see all these lenders that will have the ability to lend off of this loan. So this loan will not go through the SBA, but this will go through traditional lenders. Okay, and so this loan is 100% fully guaranteed by the SBA to the lender. So what that means is if you borrow $100,000 and let's say you default, you're not going to, but let's just say you defaulted on that $100,000, the SBA and the federal government guarantee to that lender $100,000 that they're going to pay them then. So it's 100% guaranteed. So hopefully what we're going to see is a lot more capital in business owners' hands. So just a little bit about this. So eligible entities are those with less than 500 employees. Okay, so they've changed the small business specification of what it used to be, because it used to be different for different industries. Just as long as you have less than 500 employees, you qualify as a small business for this. Okay. For purposes of determining the 500 employee threshold, if you happen to be in specific areas such as business and accommodation food services, franchise, there are other rules as well to this, but don't worry, just about everybody will qualify for this. And so what they'll do is they'll take into account full and part-time on this side of it. And really what they're trying to do is they understand the hit that restaurants have taken, and they're trying to help in other ways as well. How much can you borrow? So this is where this is a little nuanced. And this one is, and keep in mind, this is just the current way the bill is written. This may change, but loans can be up to 2.5 times the borrower's average monthly payroll costs, not to exceed $10 million. Okay, so let me say that one more time. So the maximum loan is 2.5 times the average total monthly payroll cost incurred during the year to the loan date. So for businesses not operational in 2019, it's 2.5 times the average total monthly payroll costs incurred for January and February. So if you haven't been in business for an entire year, that's okay. Some of you said, if I just started up, this is how this works currently. And like I said, this may change, but so let's say I did $10,000 a month average. So they're going to take my last 12 months, and let's say it was $120,000. They're going to divide by 12. So 10,000 is my number. $10,000 is my average monthly payroll. Then I multiply that times 2.5, at $25,000 is what I can borrow. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, I know that in Palm Springs, there are seasonal employers and seasonal restaurants and things that aren't open maybe year round. There is a different qualifier for that. So the maximum loan for a seasonal employer is 2.5 times the average total monthly payments for payroll costs for the 12-week period beginning February 15th, 2019 or March 1st, 2019. Ending June 30th. So there's a different qualifier if you wanted it to, and I think it's probably if it's in your favor for how that's going to work. So that's how much you can borrow. You don't dictate, it's based off of your payroll. Okay. Now included payroll costs include salaries, wage, commission, or similar compensation, payment of cash tip or equivalent, payment for vacation, parental, family, medical, or sick leave, allowance for dismissal or separation, payment required for the provisions of group healthcare benefits, payment of any retirement benefit, and payment of state or local tax assessed on the compensation of the employee. Now, I'm not sure that I got it in here, but just so that you know, this caps out currently at $100,000. So if you have any employees that make more than $100,000, you can only count up to $100,000. Okay, so that's how that works right there. Okay, will this loan be forgiven? So this is the interesting caveat to this loan. So keep in mind, you can only borrow 2.5 times your monthly payroll or average monthly payroll. But once you get the loan, so you have to get the loan first. And then over the next 8-week period, any payroll costs, interest on the mortgage obligation, rent on the leasing agreement, payments on utilities, or for borrowers with tipped employees, additional wages paid to those employees, that is all forgiven up to the total principal amount borrowed. So let me just repeat that. And let me break it down into layman's terms, hopefully. You're going to get a $25,000 loan. Let's say your payroll costs are $10,000, your interest on your, or let's just say you rent, that's $5,000, your payment on utilities is $5,000, and that's kind of where you're at, that's $20,000. Well, the government's gonna forgive that $20,000 of the 25. Now, most of the time, because of the way they're doing this, it's really meant for payroll, and it's meant to cover your payroll expenses and to keep your employees. So that 2.5 times qualifier is mostly gonna go to all the payroll. And the reason why I say that is, how could the forgiveness be reduced? So the amount of loan forgiveness calculated above is reduced if there's a reduction in the number of employees or a reduction of greater than 25% in wages paid to the employees. So basically, God, I was paying $10,000 a month, but now I'm only paying $2,000. Well, there's gonna be a reduction of what you can forgive. They're not gonna allow you to forgive 100%. But there's a caveat to that, and I apologize for going into so much of this, but this is still not known. So the only way I know how to get it out is to discuss it all. What if I bring back employees or restore wages? So this is the other caveat to that, right? So let's say your typical wages in the past were $10,000, but you've been closed for 3 months. So it's gonna be slow as you start, and especially for you guys in Palm Springs, if you're a restaurant, right? You're opening right in June potentially, or July, it's gonna be hot. You don't have the ability to bring back everybody. Reductions in employment or wages that occurred during the period beginning on February 15th and ending 30 days after enactment of the CARES Act shall not reduce the amount of loan forgiveness. If by June 30th, the borrower eliminates the reduction in employees or reduction in wages. So basically, if you start hiring people back and they're gonna give you a little bit of time to do that, then they won't cut back on the forgiveness. And I know that's really vague language, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more, but that's the way it's written currently. Okay? What will lenders be looking for? And this is important, right? Keep in mind, you're not gonna go to the SBA for this one. This one goes directly through your traditional lender or lenders that are in your area. The uncertainty of current economic conditions make the loan request necessary to support ongoing operations. So they understand, right? I mean, like for my business, I'm closed. I'm not gonna have any sales. I'm gonna have half of my sales in March, no sales probably in April, and I probably won't be open in May either. So I might not have any sales for a 2.5 month period. They understand that, right? They also understand that I'm gonna use the loan proceeds to either retain my workers, maintain my payroll, make my mortgage or my lease and utility payments. Borrower does not have an application pending for a loan duplicative of the purpose and amounts applied for here. This line number 3 is exactly what we're talking about with the other loan, right? So what you can apply for is the EIDL loan and this loan for the exact same things. So we want to talk about different things, right? So maybe this one is for the current, right? Of what we're going to do right now, what we're going to do to get our business up and running again. The other one can be forward facing, like, hey, I'm going to need working capital for months, 3 through 9, 3 through 12. So that's how you would denote and make them a little bit different. Okay. What will lenders not be looking for? So that the borrower sought and was unable to obtain credit elsewhere. So what used to have to happen in the past is you'd have to go out and get denied by another lender and then to be able to come to get this. They don't need that anymore. So credit elsewhere is not needed. You can apply where you need to apply to. So my suggestion is to apply where you currently deposit your funds and have a depository relationship with. A personal guarantee is not required for this loan. So let me stress that again. You will not have to personally guarantee this loan. Now, on the other loan, anything over $25,000, you do have to personally guarantee. And then on this loan, no collateral is required for the loan. Okay, so no collateral required. But keep in mind, you don't get to tell them how much you ask for. This is, they're going to tell you again. It's based off of the 2.5 times qualifier times your monthly average payroll. Okay, so let me move on to the next slide. Oop. That is all the slides that I have. And let me just go to this real quick. And I know we went through a tremendous amount of information. There are other programs that are available, and there are other programs rolling out now, for current people that have SBA loans. There's bridge loans coming out. You're going to get a lot of community development financial institutions jumping into the ring. There's going to be a lot of potential for capital. To me, these are really good programs. And just to kind of go back real quick on this PPP loan, this is set, and I don't think I discussed it. The ceiling for what lenders can put a rate on is 4%. So it can be no higher than a 4% interest rate, and it's going to spread over 7 years or amortize over 7 years. So this loan is meant for a much shorter period and a shorter term, but that's kind of where it fits. So with that, I'm going to open it up for questions, and hopefully I've got most of this out, but I'm going to leave the number up, and then Hannah, I don't know if you want to kind of take some of these questions for me.
Yes. I guess we'll start at the top. How do you apply for a PPP loan?
So currently there are a few lenders that have pushed out kind of an interest list, but like I said, the standard operating procedures or the SOPs have not been finished by the SBA yet. So nobody actually knows exactly how the loan's going to work. But what you're going to do is you're going to go to your traditional lender who offers it. If you don't have one or you don't know, we're going to send you all the lenders to the chamber in the city, and then they're going to disperse that out to everybody. And if you can also come to the Coachella Valley SBDC, and we'll help you understand as well.
Are LLC partners' monthly draw considered payroll? They don't have any employees.
Yeah, so they are not considered payroll. So there's some workarounds around that though. So, you know, that's a separate question that we can answer individually.
How long does it take for the SBA to process the application? I applied 2 weeks ago and haven't heard anything back.
Yeah, so the average time frame is 14 to 21 days. And keep in mind, that's the average time frame for a typical disaster. Because this one is so much bigger, it might take them slightly longer. But we've already put people in, you know, 10 days ago, 11 days ago, and they're starting to hear back that they've been accepted and they've gotten funding. So you're going to hear, I would say, and I don't want to, I'll ballpark it and don't hold me accountable to this, but I would say within the next 7 to 10 days, you should hear something back from them.
My business type is a sole owner C Corp and the live events business with no employees. As far as I can tell, I don't qualify for much financial assistance currently. Made too much last year for any cash stimulus. So is the only help available currently an SBA loan with a 3.75% interest rate, or is there something I'm missing?
Yeah, so most likely it's the EIDL loan for you. And that's what I would probably start with. And then I would have to kind of individually take a look at where you're at to understand, you know, if you qualify for either the PPP loan. And like I said, keep in mind, there will be other loans coming out shortly. And I want you all to know, there are no grants that I know of. There's a couple forgivable pieces in some of these loans, but there's no grants that I'm aware of that are coming out from the federal government. So, and, you know, as I kind of showcased, you know, a $100,000 loan at $450 a month for 30 years, granted you pay a lot in interest, but that's a doable loan, right? To get $100,000, right? So you're not going to find capital any cheaper than that. And yes, I do see a couple of questions here. It is a fixed rate, you know, so it's 3.75 fixed for 30 years, or the PPP loan will be no higher than 4%, fixed at anywhere from 7 to 10 years.
How does an independent contractor who represents a company for sales determine their payroll?
That's a great question, and I don't have the answer to that one at this moment. They are still working on it. They understand that there's a big difference between, you know, LLCs, corporations, and then sole proprietors, and they're still working on programs specifically for sole proprietors. And so when the PPP standard operating procedures come out, there will be specific categories so that you'll understand how a sole proprietor can qualify for this and what's allowable as far as payroll.
If you have multiple locations with different corporations, do you need to apply once or twice?
So you can do either way. So you can apply once, you know, or you can apply for both businesses, and they're going to ask your affiliate. So where, you know, if you have any other holdings. So my suggestion is probably to just apply once and to put it down, unless you want to try to recover. You know, I put them both in and aggregate them together so that you can ask for additional funding.
Can you confirm the line about the health insurance premiums included in the second loan?
I can. Let me go back to it too, just so I can bring it up. And keep in mind, these are, so they count the healthcare as part of it. But keep in mind, all of this language might change. This is what came out of the Senate bill for the CARES Act. Now that it's sitting with the SBA, they're currently writing it as we speak. So there might be some changes and some nuance to it. It might be more beneficial for people. It might be less. We don't know. And they might have more requirements. They might have more things that you can add to this, and it's not just your payroll. You know, they might change the number from 2.5 to 3.5. I don't know. But yeah, so that was the language right here. So you can see where it says, it talks about sick time and retirement benefits and healthcare.
For the SBA disaster loan, do all individuals who have 20% or more have to give a personal guarantee if the loan is over 25K? If they make more than 25K available, can you just opt to get the 25K so there's no personal guarantee?
That is a great question. And I don't know that I can answer that on the back end of it, but I can answer the front end of, yes, anybody that has more than 20% guarantee in the business, you do have to fill out and you do have to personally guarantee it. They have talked about raising that to a much higher number. We won't know for a couple of days what that number actually is. We should know by the end of the week. But they have talked about making it into the couple $100,000s. But you do have the ability to probably reduce how much they might give you. They might say, hey, you got 75, and you can say, I only need 25, and then they would waive that personal guarantee.
Can independent contractors apply for PPP?
Currently, it's in the language that they can, and we don't know the actual language. But yes, currently it says sole proprietors, independent contractors are eligible for the PPP program.
Can sole proprietors apply for unemployment?
No, well, it depends how you pay yourself, but most likely if you're taking a draw, probably not, unless you're paying into unemployment insurance.
Are the loans available to businesses owned by foreign nationals? We are residents on E2 visas and have SS numbers.
So what we've been told on that is to apply and let them determine it. And I apologize, that's a very vague answer, but that's what they tell us from the disaster team, is to just apply and let them, have the conversation with one of the underwriters from the disaster team. So I would say, yes, do it. The form is pretty quick and pretty easy to do. And then, I just don't, that's what they're telling us to do.
If you're furloughed employee with the intention of bringing them back all when your business reopens, those employees apply for unemployment, how does that affect PPP 2.5x payroll forgiveness?
Let me read that question. Hold on one second. If you furloughed employees with the intention of bringing them all back when your business reopens, those employees apply for unemployment. How does that affect PPP? So what they're going to do is they're going to take 12 months and they're going to average it out. So it might be a little bit lower as far as what you qualify for as the loan. But once you bring them back, that won't matter. It's the 8 weeks. The forgiveness part is the 8 weeks after you've gotten a loan. Hopefully that answered your question.
Are there any other resources available for religious organizations? Not
that I'm aware of. And I apologize. We only deal with for-profits, so even the nonprofit world is a little unique to us. And this is the only SBA loan that comes out that also includes nonprofits in it. So I can help somebody through this part, but it's non-religious. It's 501c3s, not 501c6s.
Being a seasonal tour company, our cash balance was nearly at its annual peak when this hit. Without an incoming cash flow and the slow season coming, this will dissipate quickly through the next 6 to 12 months. Will this current cash balance affect how they see our needs?
No, so they're going to go back 3 years. And so what they determine as far as your need is, that I don't know their algorithm and how they do that. But it is a 3-year average that they're going to take and figure out repayment and figure out how much you would need. And so they're going to go back that way. And then you're going to go forward and say, this is how much I should be doing every month. And most likely, they're going to see the gap, as far as cash flow. And hopefully that the loan will coincide with your true needs.
I started to apply for an SBA loan and it asked what my business revenue was for 2019. I just opened my business in January. January and February, I made about 10K a month. So what do I do, or what do I put in this section of the application? So
you're going to put in, you could put in 0 for 2019. They have changed that. So if you go into the new form, it just asks what your business revenue is over the last 12 months. And so they'll know, because there's also a place that you're going to put in when your business started. And so they'll be able to correlate the two together. But you should absolutely apply, because your business has been affected today and it's going to be affected in the future with this.
I am closing on the purchase of an established business tomorrow. Will it still qualify for SBA lending?
It should. There shouldn't be a lot of changes to traditional SBA lending. And that's really going to go back to your lender, whoever your lender is. And I would ask those questions. But if it's already gone through underwriting and everything has been approved, I don't see a problem with it.
Is the forgiveness for both loans?
So currently there is no forgiveness for the EIDL loan, or the economic injury disaster loan. There's talks of making a portion of it forgivable, but that is just talk at this moment. So we don't know yet if it is or not.
If I already put my staff on forced unpaid leave and I bring them back and pay them to stay home, will that be forgiven?
That's the intent of this. So it should be.
Can 1099 workers apply for unemployment insurance? If so, how?
So no, but there is a new piece that came out of the federal government. It's the disaster unemployment assistance piece that the president just declared a disaster for that. So that's going to roll to the EDD. And so they should have new guidelines of how a 1099 would apply for unemployment insurance. But that should be coming out. And as soon as we get information on it, we'll make sure that we send it to, like I said, the city, the chamber, and the SBDC so that they can push it out to everybody.
I have a loan with American Express and large payments that are due every month. Can these be covered with the loan?
It depends what they are. So my first question to you or thought to you is to call American Express and ask if you can have a deferment. They may say no. That's quite okay, but I would at least call, find out if you can defer it without any penalty. Make sure that they throw in those words that there's no penalty. But depending on what you've charged on those, you possibly could use those for either, the loan is definitely the EIDL. You could definitely cover it with some of that. They're going to ask you in one of the forms, in form 2202, your schedule of liabilities. Obviously, American Express payment will be a schedule of liability.
How long will it take to get the PPP funding after you submit an application?
So that's going to be based on lender. So there are going to be hundreds of lenders doing this. So this is going out through all the traditional lenders. And so what the federal government's hope is that it's out within 7 to 10 days from the time you apply. It's going to be a streamlined process, but that's going to be based on each lender.
Can owner employees count their wages in the annual average payroll for PPP?
Repeat that one more time.
Oh, oops.
Sorry.
Sorry, I dismissed it.
Oh, that's not good.
Can owner employees count their wages in the annual average payroll for PPP?
I don't know yet. They haven't, like I said, the guidelines haven't come out yet. And it probably will depend on how you pay yourself as an owner. If you take a draw, I'm going to assume probably not, but let's wait and see till we get the actual information as to what counts and what doesn't.
Does all the money from PPP have to be spent within 8 weeks?
No, it doesn't. So what they do is they take an 8-week period after you get the loan, whatever you use for those 4 categories, right? The rent, mortgage, insurance, utilities, those types of things. Whatever you use, you then give the lender back the receipts and say, here's what I spent it on. They then forgive that portion of the loan. Whatever's left, so let's say you got a $50,000 loan and $30,000 of it was forgiven, then $20,000 would roll out into a 4% 7A loan for over a 7-year period. Can
the payroll be paid retroactively? Many of us have obviously done layoffs already, but would pay them now.
I think it depends on if they've gone and gone for unemployment insurance or not. If they're just sitting at home, then maybe. So that's a tough question. I don't want to speculate, but I would assume if they haven't applied for anything yet, then possibly. But once they've applied, then no, for any uninsurance or unemployment insurance.
Can you explain how this works for tipped employees since minimum wage is not enough?
It's just minimum wage is all you're taking. So, and then any other tips that you give to them after the fact is how it's written in code now. Maybe that will change. I'm not sure though. I know that probably didn't answer your question and I apologize. I got time for like 2 more questions.
If my landlord forgives some rent, can I get forgiveness of the PPE for the rent after that?
Yes. The way it's currently written, absolutely. And then I see a question here about the 8-week forgiveness. Does it start right away? It doesn't have to start right away. It just expires June 30th. So it's going to be pretty quick. And for a lot of us, our businesses are closed. So we don't have a lot of opportunity, to spend money on employees and things like that. So, but it doesn't have to start right when you get it. It can just expire June 30th, 2020.
When's the deadline for PPP?
So the PPP forgivable part is June 30th, and that's when it's supposed to expire. My guess is that they're probably going to have to extend it because this, it's not like we were in a hurricane or a tornado or something that happened and we were able to, this is ongoing and there's no end in sight as to when this is going to end. So my guess is that this is going to last a very long time. So with that, I thank you guys for your time. If you have any other questions, you can give us a call, email us. You know, I want to thank the assembly member. I want to thank the mayor. I want to thank the chamber and the Coachella Valley SBDC for allowing us to partner with them on this. If you would like, we can definitely do this again when we have more information on the PPP. Like I said, the SBA's SOP should be coming out on Thursday or Friday. So we will have a definitive answer for a lot of the questions that you guys asked where there's a little gray area. But my suggestion to you is to apply for the EIDL loan, even if you're not sure if you want it, just so that you're in the system and it gives you the possibility of taking it if you need it. And like I said, if you do get it, you do have a year to accept it before you actually have to take it on. So that's kind of the starting point. And, you know, we're here to help you in whatever you might need. And yeah, thank you guys and have a wonderful day.